if you love what you do, again, like those difficult days will be a little bit easier. Your work ethic will be there. And if you have that good pressure where you're holding yourself to a high standard, where you're saying, I truly, to my core, believe that I'm going to scale this company to $1 billion plus company, that's what you're looking for, right?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another killer episode of the Forever Podcast. My name is Jamar Jones. I am the founder of Forever Media, national keynote speaker, and author of the book Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. And we're about to do that again today. Oh my goodness, man. We got Mitchell in the building. And we're going to get into some amazing conversation. But this podcast is all for entrepreneurs growing and scaling their business, especially on the marketing, sales, and branding side. But we bring incredible people here onto this show, and Mitchell is no exception. Mitchell, how are you doing? Welcome to the podcast, man.
Jamar, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate, you taking the time. I'm happy we were both able to, find the time to talk, and I'm really excited to get into this conversation. And talk more about it.
Yeah, man. So what is a day in the life of Mitchell? Like we just need give the audience a snapshot, man, of a day in the life of what you got going on.
For sure. It's a funny question because like narrowing down day in the life as a VC investor is difficult because every day is different. I would honestly take it week by week because there are days where I'm dedicated to just sourcing deal flow. There are days where I'm committed to performing due diligence on the deals that I source, earlier that week. And then there are days where companies and founders that we've invested in call me and they're like, Mitch, we need help from you in XYZ way. What are your opinions and thoughts on this? And do you know someone who can, help us integrate into this industry that we're trying to tackle now? And then sometimes they're calling me to be their therapist, and I'm obviously always there for that. Um, and like the day in the life, honestly, is I'm a big believer in waking up early. I mean, I'm not like waking up crazy like that TikTok guy, but I'm waking up, like with the blue the water
Yeah.
bottle. But
Are you dumping your face in water and like going from 4 a.m. to 4:05 and like doing a completely different
nah,
thing?
I'm not rubbing banana peels on my face either, but it's important, I think, to have a great start to the day. Every day is a blessing, and it's even more of a blessing for me to have found something that I love to do. So you just got to take advantage. So every day, I try to wake up early, either go to the gym early or in the afternoon. I'm
Mm,
big on exercising. It's not really like a personality trait. It's more of like it really helps me build good habits,
mm,
stay on a schedule, and it really helps my mental. Honestly, I don't really care about how I look, and obviously I look in the mirror, but it's more about my mental. It's more about when I have difficult, bad days and how much that helps me. And then day to day, it's always just trying to grow and learn, or week
mm.
by week at least. So I honestly live by the motto of staying a good person, being consistent at working hard, and being humble at that. And if I can really just do that week in, week out, day by day, you take a look back and you're like, wow, well, can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah. You go
Yeah, I could say,
You go
I
ahead.
could say, I could say like, oh, holy shit, like, you know,
Yeah.
I just like, ran a mile. And you can look back a year from now and be like, I was so innocent a year from now. So that's really what I like to look at, and I only compare myself to my past self, not to others.
Mm.
So That's really like what I am week by week, day
Yeah,
by
no,
day.
it's a great answer. What, how did you get this growth mindset? Because so I talk to entrepreneurs every single day, right? And it's some of them, it's hard to like, there's usually like a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Um, and some of them have fixed mindsets where everything's a challenge, everything is tough, woe is me, why me? And it sounds like with what you just described, everything in your mind is from a growth mindset, and you're thinking about how to ways to improve. Like you said, hey, I'm looking to learn, I'm looking to get better, looking to look, fast forward, and also like you blink, you're like, oh man, okay, staying consistent. There is some changes. How did you get that? Like, where did that come from? Did it come from somebody, something, a moment in your life? Like, where did that growth mindset come from?
It's a great question. I haven't really thought much about like where it came from. I'm just a very positive person, I like to say,
Hmm.
and I think I didn't know we'd getting into a little bit of a psychology talk, but I will be honest with you. I think mindset and psychology, especially when it comes to early stage investing and evaluating, companies early on, it's always
Hmm.
like market versus people, or team, and team versus market. And really is team really early on, and who are you bringing in as individuals to help scale and solve whatever problem you might be solving, whether that be a product or service. And having a positive mindset, I think, really, really helps. Obviously, I'm not here to, say every day is butterflies and rainbows, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to look at things from, again, I think being grateful is step number one. Like,
Hmm.
you have to understand, every day you get to wake up and go to the office. As cheesy as it might sound, that's really how I look at things. I get to tackle the day and take advantage of today.
Hmm.
And how am I positive? I'm a fairly religious person in a way.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah.
that helps sometimes. And I'm Jewish, so sometimes I wrap tefillin, and it's not trying to get into religious talk, but to get into more of
Yeah.
a spiritual talk for me, that's like a little bit of like some like my source of meditation in a way, and to be
Hmm.
grateful and to go tackle the day. Um,
Yeah.
and that's sort of where it came from me. But you got to think good, and you got to stay positive, because you probably hear like all these stories that if you have that lens, you'll start seeing good things, and you'll start
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
advantage of the awesome opportunities in front of you. um, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's really how it happened. And it doesn't hurt when, again, I love what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful that somewhat early in my career, I was able to figure that out. And I mean, I'm sure you can allude to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, man. This is and everything you said is good. And just to, kind of package it for people. So one is gratitude. Just being thankful for the small things, right? I mean, it's small things that are actually
Sure.
big things. Waking up every morning is a pretty big thing, but everybody takes it for granted. Surrendering to something that's bigger than you, wherever that may be. Just having something to as an anchor. I think as an entrepreneur, like you putting it all on yourself, it's tough, but
For
having that
sure.
anchor and having something that balances you, whatever that may be for you, um, you need it, because if you're really in entrepreneurship or you're really going through the motions of things, you're gonna be in a moment where you're gonna need something bigger than yourself. Um, and trust me, like
100%. 100%. 100%. I've like created this like term that I really love to go back to, and it's called good pressure. That's something that I
mm,
look for
good
in
pressure. Okay.
entrepreneurs, and I say it. And what I mean by that is, I mean a lot of things by that. And an example I can put in good pressure is the good pressure I'm currently facing today. I'm recently married, and
Hmm.
God willing, I want to start a family with my wife one day.
Yeah.
It's not only I'm not only responsible for myself, I'm also responsible for my spouse. And
Hmm. Hmm.
when you want to have a family, start a family, you know, there are a lot of moving parts that help you be prepared. I know you'll never be prepared for a kid, but even financially
Yeah.
speaking, mentally speaking, like it's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm holding myself accountable and holding myself to a setting, a new set of standards.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also come from a Jewish Persian community where I was born and raised, and I'm not saying everyone from that community made it and became millionaires and this and that, but
Hmm.
I was born and grateful enough to be born in a community where like you just got to try, and it's
Yeah.
like people like ask me what I do for a living and stuff, and sometimes when I'm really not like down to go into detail, it might not be the right time or place. I'm just like, listen, I'm trying. Like I'm hustling just as much as you
Yeah.
might be as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
we can get into it, but I think there are a lot of similarities between a VC and an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There really are, and that's why um, I think some of the best investors are able to recognize and find the best entrepreneurs, ones that you
Yeah.
can just believe in and their work ethic, and their love for what they do is a big measurement of mine. Like if you love what you do, again, like those difficult days will be a little bit easier, and your work ethic will be there. And if you have that good pressure where you're holding yourself to a high standard, where you're saying, you know I truly, to my core, believe that I'm going to scale this company to $1 billion plus company.
Right.
That's what you're looking for, right? And it's like that confidence. It's another
Yeah.
analogy I use and sent to my even some of my current portfolio companies on first calls. I say, it's like hitting on a girl. You can't hit on a girl and think that you're not going to get her number, or you're not going to be able to go out with her, right? No, you're hitting on a girl. You're going to say, I am going to get her number. And it's that confidence factor that plays a huge role. And I think, I just said a bunch of stuff between confidence, between loving what
Yeah.
you do, between staying positive. It really all ties together for me. And those are things that I truly look for when it comes to entrepreneurs, especially again in the early stages of things.
Yeah. 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 No, this is good. We're gonna get into because I mean we kind of got connected through the Nucleus Network, right?
Yes.
Shout out Jake. Shout out the Axeman.
Love him.
And like when I looked at, I think you sent me a link, and you're like, "Hey, man, these are portfolio companies," and there's a ton of them. A ton of companies in there. So I want to kind of talk about. Um, so, what do you guys look for? When you guys are trying to engage with an entrepreneur that has an idea, that has a business and they need some fuel to their fire, right? And to kind of pour some gasoline on it. Whether that be a startup or whether that be a company that's been running for a little bit. But they kind of need that extra gas. Maybe it's a strategic partner. I mean, it could be a various amounts of things. What do you guys look for to get added, as actually on the list as one of your portfolio companies?
Oh, it's a great question. Just so people know, I've been an associate for now 3.5 years at Talent Resources Ventures.
Yeah.
Um, Talent Resources Ventures is the venture branch of a company called Talent Resources, where they have a celebrity athlete marketing agency as well as a PR and social media arms of the firm.
Hmm.
So to answer your question, we like to get involved, and just so everyone knows our thesis, C to Series A, um, nothing pre-product, pre-launch, but what we really look for, and we're industry agnostic, is wait investing in companies that we can help beyond our capital investment. right? We try to be
Yeah.
smart money, and that's a win for both the portfolio company and us ourselves. So with the
Yeah.
portfolio company, we're smart money. We're not just cash. We're able to help beyond our capital investment. Again, whether it's, we're not talent, so we can't promise anything, but whether it's bringing a talent involved, or whether it's helping and utilizing our PR services to help make noise in your respective market. Our
Mm.
PR team is awesome. And it's for us, we're providing value for you beyond capital. And then internally, it's like we're hedging our bet in a way because we're betting on our network, we're betting on our services, because we've known and we've seen it scale. Before I even joined TR, they've done it for companies like Weedmaps, which is publicly traded now. We don't have to talk
Mm.
about the public stock, but
Yeah.
that was a really big win for Talent Resources Ventures. Who Chocolate, which was acquired by Mondelez. Those were big ones. So what we're looking for, and I know I alluded to, who the entrepreneur is and what we're looking for in that, but it's also we're looking to be smart money, and that way it's a win-win for everyone across the board. Um, so yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very big determining factor. Another thing I will quickly say is with the fire and juice and all of that you mentioned, it's
Yeah.
very important for founders to be intellectually honest with themselves about their strengths and weaknesses.
Mm. Talk about that. Yeah.
It's yeah, it's it's very important, because sometimes ego gets in the way and they believe they can continue help scaling it. Sometimes they they hire the wrong people that might be too similar and share the same strengths as them. But to be
Hmm.
able to say, I'm not great at product development, but I am great at marketing and pushing our narrative about what our product or service is, and I am great at you know finding big key enterprise partners for our company that can help scale revenue to 10 million in
Yeah.
ARR, which will change our company early on. Um,
Yeah.
and being able to recognize strengths and weaknesses is, again, just like really important. It seems obvious, um, but again, you never want ego to be the reason why something doesn't work early on, because that's just a shame. That's just a
Yeah.
shame.
So you're saying we got to put our ego to the side, our pride to the side, um, to actually scale our business the right way is what you're saying. I mean, because
And
you're looking
it's
for, like you can't work with somebody that is just totally like, because and also that's definitely hard for, I think, people in general to put that ego aside, but I know especially for men that's especially hard, because like if we're starting something and we want to like prove it or stick it to whoever, and it's like, yeah, we can do all these things, but in truth, to scale and to have somebody interested in investing in you, not just by cash, but by other resources as well. But to invest into something, you have to put your ego aside because you can't be the only one that's doing everything, right? You have to scale at some point, and you got to bring in the right people to be able to get to where you're trying to go. And this is something that's a lot of people struggle with when it comes down to the ego side, especially in the early stages, though. I could see you guys getting into this conversation a lot because now if they already know, then it's a little easier.
exactly.
They can bring that to the table and say, look, I'm not great at the marketing thing, but I'm like the brains. I created this thing. I know the products, the recipes. Like I can keep cranking out like great products. Okay, so you need help with making that noise. Okay, you got the PR resource. Like, but if they don't know that, you may have to have and you said like, hey, I didn't know we were going to get into psychology. The truth of the matter is that a lot of this stuff is psychology because
100%.
you gotta like you're probably having these conversations where it's like, dude, you're not. great at everything. You can't be like you literally
Yeah.
cannot be.
Yeah. And then with that it goes with like hiring the right person, for each role and building that
Yeah,
team again early on. Building a team is super, super important. Um, and maybe ego can mean many things. It could be, I'm the toughest and I'm the best, but it could also
yeah,
mean like just like being a little blind to it, maybe.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's true.
and it's like
Hmm.
it's hard. Listen, I'm not saying every founder shouldn't go ahead and be the CEO of their companies. I'm not saying that, but you know, there are so many incredible founders that did arguably one of the hardest parts, which is making an idea into a reality. And like
Oh, super hard.
that takes blood, sweat, tears, life savings, risk, ambition, all those things and all those real life sacrifices. And then to like get there and to try to scale the company, but realize after a year and a half, like, shit, we've been sort of stagnant. We haven't been growing. Like, that's where you have to look into yourself and say, what do we
Yeah,
need to change? And maybe I'm not the right person to be CEO. I can still be majority shareholder of the company, but maybe I should go work for, again, working with enterprise partnerships or whatever it might be, or maybe working on, the packaging of the product or
yeah,
anything else that might be your strength. And then this also opens up a whole other can of worms, if you don't mind me talking
yeah.
about it.
Go
But
ahead,
it's
go
like
ahead. Go for it.
hiring the right people to come join you, and it's really difficult to do that. And it's
Oh my
because
God.
you want to hire the best people, right? You want to hire incredible people, but you're a startup and you are on a serious budget restriction and
Right.
you don't have all the money in the world to pay them. So you have to convince someone, if you're a beverage company or let's just say a CPG product, that you have to convince the head of sales at Red Bull to come join your company when that person might be making six figures and
Hmm.
high six figures when they're not going to be probably be making that. So
Yeah,
what you have to do is sell them on your story, sell them on
yeah,
the big picture, sell them on your belief of what you together could build. And then obviously I'm sure there's some equity compensation in there too, because that's how you're going to be able to really help scale early on and bring in the right people, and that's really hard. But that's
yeah.
also something I'm just letting you know, like a huge green flag when you're talking to an entrepreneur. It's like, yeah, we just brought in XYZ person from, that is a master in, we're a fintech company that is a master in, these financial services and worked at Square or
Yeah.
Toast, right? And they know XYZ and have relationships and can really help scale the company. Um, and we were able to get them bought in on our story and take a
Mm,
fraction of a salary to come work for us because they believe in what we are building. That
yeah.
goes to show a lot about who you are as an entrepreneur to get people sold, but
Hmm.
also what you're going to go build. And it shows a lot. It shows that you are a great salesman or
Yeah, I was gonna
saleswoman,
say that.
and you
Yeah.
can. And maybe it shows that it'd be easier for someone like you to go and raise capital because of that. And you never want to be the only one invested in the company and have them
Yeah.
not raise the rest of the round and run out of run out of cash and have no runway. Um, so yeah, I mean, there are a
Yeah.
lot of pieces, there are a lot of moving parts, but that is
Yeah.
that is another thing to consider.
Yeah. And the key there too is like if this goes for a lot of people, but if you can sell your vision, your story to somebody else, it makes it a lot easier for other people to come in and be a part of that journey. It's always hard for the first one. I always oftentimes say
For
this even
sure.
with like sponsorships. lot of people ask me because I've accumulated a lot of sponsorships, throughout the years, and people are like, "How are you doing this?" Well, the key is like first you got to get one, right? You need to get one because once you get one, it's like, oh, well, so and so company's involved. That makes it a little easier to kind of go through the door and kind of sell it to people, right? And this is also for VCs. I'm sure even from building that team aspect of like, hey, I grabbed this person from this company, I grabbed this person this, and this person has this great skill set. I've been able to build this team already, and they're sold on the vision and the story and the idea of where this thing's going to go, and they gave up some of their guarantees that they had forced this. So that as a VC, that makes it way easier. At least gives them like another step closer to figuring out, hey, is there something here? So for everybody listening, think about that because if you just got an idea, right, and you haven't even put it to paper, you can't even articulate it, you know, it's hard for anybody to invest in you and not even like even buy your stuff, like it's really hard for people to do anything with your stuff if you can't articulate the idea and that story to somebody else. And I always am on here preaching about like the clarity of your message, like you need to have a clear message and a way to articulate something for other people to receive it and know how to do something with it. So I want to ask you how, just to make this more of also a relevant topic too. So like Shark Tank, I feel like people can relate, when they think about VCs, they think about, investing. That's the first thing, because it's literally like the biggest platform when it comes to that. How real is that to you? Like is that something that you're looking at saying like, hey, this is how it goes? Obviously it's sped up. It's what can we take from that experience that we're seeing on TV versus what you guys are doing also in the real world?
It's I wouldn't say it's not the most real. What I do like that Shark Tank does is and going back to I think I touched on this point. They the sharks like to invest in companies they think they can scale on their
Yeah.
own through their network, through their business that help make them, billionaires, multi 100 millionaires to be on that show. So that is something that I always thought like, okay, that makes complete sense because, you know, you can maybe, again, let's just say one of the sharks might be a huge can manufacturer, right?
Hmm.
And you can help cut margins and on manufacturing cans for beverages, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
not only that, because of that you also have great relationships with distributors, and with distributors that can get you into Whole Foods and number one retail stores across the country, right? Then you
Yeah.
get involved. So that is what I really admire out of Shark Tank. um, the language is not as direct when it comes to venture. They're in VC, they're a lot more like, you do notes or safe rounds and stuff like
Okay.
that, where, um, it's hard to set a certain valuation and a share price in a company when it's that early on.
Yeah.
So safes and notes really help complement that. Um, and they do it in terms of percent ownership. Yes, VC are also looking in terms of percent ownership, but it's really like, the companies are coming to you and saying, these are the terms, our lead investor set, we're raising, $10 million round, and we're raising, $2 million at a $10 million valuation post money. Um, that's really what you're looking at. And if you invest the 2 million, right off the bat, then you can talk about the percentage. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. That's something so another question to that is, so you guys say that you don't really look at things pre-revenue, right?
Typically, no.
Typically. So how much proof of concept do you need to kind of go into something, into a situation? So like do like what's more important? Is it the revenue that they can generate? Is it the monthly revenue? Is it just showing like, hey, we've acquired X amount of customers or clients in
It's a
this
great
short period of
question.
time? Like what's the metric that you guys are looking for? So that way we can give the audience of like a little sneak peek of what what do they got to build towards?
It's a great question. The first metric I look at is there truly a problem here? With that, like honestly, you have to make
Yeah.
sure there's a problem. Like I know it sounds so dumb when you say it out loud and sounds so obvious, but it's true. Sometimes people are building something, and that's why they got into teams pivot, right? Like you always hear about teams pivoting and making the right adjustments. And this company started out, you know, doing, solving X, but they realized X was already solved. So now they pivoted to Y. So that's the first thing. Is there a
Okay.
problem? And then are you actually solving it? And yes, obviously, if you have a lot of repeat customers, obviously, if you have, customers under retainer for, multiple months and they're happy, that shows that you are solving it. To be honest with you, I sometimes ask portfolio or companies that we're in due diligence with, can we speak to a customer or client of yours?
Oh,
Like I truly do. And sometimes, let me tell you, when they're really early, customers and clients actually, the ones that are really blown away and they're like, oh my gosh, what you are doing is solving this industry so much, it will revolutionize it. Let me invest. And when you got a customer in on the cap table, I don't think it's smart to ever approach your customers and ask them to be on the cap table. But
yeah.
if a customer comes to you and is like,
Yeah,
this
is
is
willing.
truly revolutionary and we
Yeah.
love what this does for us, we want to get our foot in the door, like from an investment perspective, by all means. I mean, that's like the biggest green light ever.
Mm.
Um, I'm obviously looking at, I do month over month growth for a lot of CPG companies. Trying to do 20 to 25% is really healthy month over month growth. Um, I also, I also do this like, I like something like a stupid idea I created, but it's really the triangle trade of due diligence in a way. And a lot of investors will be like, "Yeah, I do this too," but I'm just putting a name on it. And it's, you have a company. Let's say you came across a company that is trying to, a recruiting company, right? They use AI to help match resumes or whatever to the best, potential candidate for recruiting, right?
Hmm.
I'm going to take that company and I'm going to go to my friend who works for a recruiting company. And I'm going to say, yo, would you and your team genuinely use this technology? Please let me know. Please use it. Please use it for a week, for a month, and let me know.
Ah,
And I'll get it
okay.
to you for free. I'll get it to you for free. Use it for a week or a month. Let me know how you like it. Demo it. Try it out. I go to the company and I say, listen, I know someone who works at, again, works in this industry. I'm going to
Yeah.
give them your tech. If they genuinely like it, guess what? I just brought you a customer and they just
Yeah.
helped with my due diligence because they're your target audience. And if your
Yeah.
target audience is down to start paying for you, then guess what? There was a problem in that industry and you are solving it. And with
Yeah.
that, I can go and say, thank you for doing a good chunk of my due diligence in this. And I'm going to
Yeah.
go invest in the company. And for the startup, I just brought you a customer. It's all a triangle trade. For the startup, I just brought you a customer, and they did my my buddy just did the due diligence for me, and then
Yeah.
for my buddy, guess what? I just made your job easier. I just helped you and your firm or your company out
Yeah.
immensely. So that's something I always like to do, and maybe sometimes I am that target audience, and I need to
Hmm.
do the due diligence. Or maybe
Hmm.
there's a cosmetic company that it's a an organic lotion or cream that can really help with people who have really sensitive skin. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go give that to my wife or someone else or a girl, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
really use cosmetic stuff as much. So why am I the one to perform the due diligence in that? So
Got
that's
you.
really, really what I like, what I do to help evaluate. When it comes to CPG, food and beverage, or CPG, really anything, does it taste good? Like that's my determining. Like that's the first thing because I'm going to come back if it tastes good. I get if it's healthy and all this stuff, but even if it's healthy, I'm not going to come back and purchase it again if I don't
Right.
think it tastes good.
Right.
That's like basic rule number one for me.
Yeah. No, that's actually a ton of insight for people. It just I was cracking up when you said like, is there actually a problem here? Because people will spend a lot of time, just on a certain idea. But it's fine. And even back to the Shark Tank thing, you kind of see it and you're like, man, there's like a market that's like this small,
Yeah.
for somebody that's like putting all this money, like how much are you invested in this? And they're just like, it's like so much money on the problem that's like this small, that's more of like a convenience thing. And it's not even really something that really is impactful or scalable. And so I think that's a great two things that you start off with. I was laughing more of just of how simple it was, but it's so
Yeah.
real though. It is so real. Like, is there a problem and are you actually solving it? And so I'm sure you guys get pitched all the time, to, hey, look at my business, of am I investable? Is this something that you guys would be interested in taking a look? And I'm thinking we already got like a little bit of a snapshot of maybe how to come to you guys correctly, if to see if there's any real interest, to helping your business. What are some other things that people need to come to you with as far as to be prepared, to so that way you get even to that due diligence conversation? Because
It's a
I'm
great
sure you guys get
question.
stuff all the
It's a
time. I mean,
fantastic question. Yeah. Getting deal flow has never been an issue.
yeah, I'm sure it's
It's
every day.
it's a very good question. When I'm on the initial call, I explain, who we are, what we do, everything we can potentially provide for you, even beyond capital. And
Yeah.
I also got into, we have 65 plus portfolio companies, 13 exits to date. And I ask the question, and I actually make it sometimes it's awkward, have you taken a look at our portfolio?
Mm,
Because that is such a key indicator for me. Like, sometimes I try not to let it like bother me if they say no, but it bothers me so much if they say no. And I'll explain to you why. Because you're coming to me for money, right? You're coming to Talent Resources Ventures. You're coming to us and asking us to put money and partner and be a true business partner with you, right? How are you not going to do your research on who we are and what we do and
right.
what we invest in? It makes me like, it gets me upset because it's so obvious, right? But if you're not going to do that for me, how do I know you're not going to do that for the other investors you're going towards and seeking capital from? How do I know you're not going to do that for your business and ask and look at what customers are saying, in terms of reviews for your product and service, right? You got
Hmm.
to listen to your customers. And how do I know you're not going to do your homework with that? So
Yeah.
it's such a red flag for me, or orange flag, or yellow flag, whatever you want to call it for me. But it do a little bit of your digging, do a little bit of your homework, um, and make sure you're prepared. Um,
Yeah.
on our thesis at least. I mean, you can have questions, but at least take a look at it. Our investment portfolio. It's the best when a founder says, you know, we I actually know XYZ founder from your portfolio very well. That goes to show that they have some network, but also they
Okay.
actually looked at our portfolio and they wanted to befriend me a little bit. It's not
Yeah.
as transactional, they're having an organic conversation.
Mm. So doing your research ahead of time, obviously having a proof of concept, right, for your business, um, and also having real taste or real case studies on does your product actually solve a problem, and you could probably do it in a lot of different ways. If it's video, if it's photos, written. I mean, there's probably a ton of different ways, data to show like, hey, this is the before and after. Um, is there anything else that people need to bring to the table for you guys to be like at least get to getting a meeting with you? um
No,
because
getting a meeting is my job is to be a yes man. Like
yeah,
to get a meeting, look at our website. My email is there. There's a
yeah,
clear area like how to contact us, and if you
yeah,
contact us, we'll answer.
yeah,
My job is to be a yes man. Um, but you got to also like sometimes I always tell people like, sorry, it might be too early. Or maybe we don't lead around, so maybe they haven't found a lead investor and they haven't set terms. But I'm like, keep me updated because a big measurement for us is, since our first conversation, what have you done since, right? Execution
yeah,
time is a huge measurement for us. And it's,
interesting.
maybe you didn't raise any dollars. And guess what? In 6 months, we actually raised $1.5 million, and our sales increased, 30% from last quarter or something.
Last
And
time that we
we
talked, yeah,
actually developed a lot. So I'm measuring are you a doer or do you just sit, you know on your hands, or are you actually
yeah,
getting your hands dirty?
yeah,
And being a
mm,
doer is such a key measurement. And time is a key component to measuring that. And
yeah,
what you
yeah.
do in the amount of time that since we last spoke. That is definitely a huge matrix that we consider.
Oh, that's good. It's so funny about what you just said is that so because I am a creator and I love to bring things to life, right? And I've done it in a lot of different ways. People are constantly bringing me ideas, and I'm not an investor.
Sure.
They're just bringing me ideas because they see that I can execute things. So there's like, oh, I got this idea. Would you like to be a part of this? Do you want to help? All the time. The number one thing that I look for, just to piggyback what you just said, is like if you just have an idea and it's not written down, like you can't send me your idea. I don't even look at. I don't even. I'm like, cool, sounds good. Let me know how it goes because I'm not even going to. If you didn't take the time, what to your point, to actually like, if it's just
For
floating
sure.
around up here, like, what makes you think I'm going to take all my energy and time to figure out whatever is up here? You didn't even take the time to put this on paper. Like, is there a website? Is there a
Definitely.
deck? Is there like what
Definitely.
what things have you done to even make me interested in it? So that's like my number one thing. Like, if you ain't got that, I,
100%.
it may be the best idea in the world. I won't even take it even to the next step. And I got a great network, and I'm like, hey, because they're also asking me like, hey, who do you know? Blah blah blah. I'm not taking
Exactly.
that to somebody. I'm like, hey, Mitchell, hey man, I got this guy. He's got a company. It's in his head. I'm not gonna waste that on this relationship. Like, are you kidding me?
Literally. Great point. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. But I'm sure you get that a lot too. But yeah. So guys, everybody that's listening, watching, this is great information um, of just how to make yourself presentable and investable, for other people. Like, and I that's why I love that you guys are not pre-revenue. I just feel like pre-revenue is like, yeah, you might get lucky, on a pre-revenue, but like it's about doing it and getting real, some traction, some results to show that the thing actually works. Because we ideas are cheap, ideas are free, and everybody can have an idea. Everybody, like, with chat gbt and other things, like people can spin up ideas quickly, but how does it test in the marketplace? And how is it actually, like, how are people going to receive it? And customer feedback is crazy. Like, you can get
For
some
sure.
real like some real nuggets from your customers because they're using your product or service, and you need that stuff ahead of time. And that's why like people come to these ideas. I'm like, how about you actually just start getting customers? Like, you don't need an investor to go in or that's this early. Like it's get some customers, get the feedback. I mean, I can't remember how many things I've started and I'm like, oh, I think it's all going to work out this way. And you get into the marketplace and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that I could just trim like probably 90% of this thing and people just want this 10% thing that I didn't think was very significant, but that's all they
Exactly.
want. So let's just double down on that. Like it makes it very simple if you could just test the market.
It's 100%, and it's obvious when you say it out loud again, but like sometimes again I do give like benefit of the doubt that like it is a bit tunnel vision. You did commit a lot to trying, to create something. Slack, I don't know if anyone here listening is aware of the Slack story, but Slack actually started as a video game. And in the video game, they had a little chat box. And no one was really interested in the video game. The chat box was doing really well and communicating really well. And then they
Ah,
just doubled down on that 10% that was wanted, right? The stupid little chat box that isn't really a stupid little chat box. It's a
no.
multi-billion-dollar idea. So that's what going back earlier, we talked about pivoting, like, is an
Yeah.
example of that. And I'm sure, there are many others um, just like that.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, I didn't know that. I got to look up that story now. I did not know about Slack that it started off as a video game. I got to look that up. So I got two quick questions for you. So, and I know you also on the side have the venture reel. So I want to kind of talk about that really quick. What made you want to get that going as far as to launch the venture reel? And I've been following just the page of just the content and everything that you're doing on social. So what was kind of the thought process in starting that? And where would you like to take that?
Yeah. I started the venture reel because there was no account out there like it, honestly. I, I don't want to be an influencer. That's why I didn't do it through my personal account. And instead, I created a separate account as a channel.
Yeah.
Um, but there was nothing out there showing today what currently entrepreneurs are building on my feed, and I'm sure on many other people's feeds listening. It's like this person became a billionaire doing this, and it's the end result. But there's no channel on Instagram and TikTok, at least, um, showing what today current entrepreneurs are building. What types of risks they're taking today, what they're trying to solve as of right now. And
Mm,
that's what I wanted to build. There's traded VC, but they talk about like, once a fund closes or once, a startup closes their, A round or seed round or whatever round it might be. But there's nothing
yeah.
talking about the today. And the way I look at the venture reel is, again, it's a side hustle. It's really just a modern day newsletter. Um,
Hmm.
I tend to really stop truly reading my email newsletters. This might not just be me. I don't think it's just me, but I skim through them. Some of them I just click and mark as read in my email. And I find myself scrolling through my phone a lot through the day. So I thought,
Yeah.
why not just, make clips about current, you know, startup companies that entrepreneurs are building today,
Mm,
um, and just put them in a little video clip. Now, I also sort of adjusted the thesis a little bit. I talk a lot about, the business behind venture capital as a whole, the market, startup industries, and then also some private businesses that I genuinely love, like
mm,
restaurants throughout Manhattan. And I talk about their business model and why I think it's so smart and successful, their operations, but also other companies like the Owala water bottle is my most recent post. that everyone
Yeah.
has and a lot of people can resonate to. But again, talking all about it from the business perspective and from, the story behind the business of these companies and startup companies and venture capital as a whole. So
Yeah.
it's been great. I mean, anyone has a startup that they think, I should feature. I mean, first, does anyone have a startup that you think Talent Resources and us we could invest in?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Of
also
course.
happy to sort of be a marketing channel for startup companies. And that's really what it
Yeah.
essentially does. But again, it's really for anyone trying to tap into the venture capital space, the startup space, and whether that's from an entrepreneur's perspective or you're in college and trying to crack into a gig or something like that. I think that account could be super beneficial.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And I think it's just a way of you're creating something that's different and unique because the times have changed, right? Then it reminds me of a guy that I know named Steve Glenn, and he created because everybody's doing podcasts, everybody's doing that stuff, but he kind of created these like bite-sized clips of like not bite-sized podcasts that's like 5 to 7 minutes long, and it's just on a particular topic, and so it's more bite-sized where people can quickly listen in on what's going on instead of like a whole hour long podcast for people like because there's a little bit more that goes into a whole hour to of time wise,
Yeah.
but I think people are just more in that speed. So just to your point, like the newsletter, it's like, yeah, does newsletters probably still work? Yes, like people, it's still actively being used, but people's time is definitely a lot more crunched down right now. So having something that can be quickly, just looking at a bunch of news and scrolling is a lot easier, and it's more entertaining than a newsletter could ever be. And so I think
That's the
that's a
goal.
yeah, fantastic idea. I know I probably have some
Thank you.
definitely some people that I can shoot over your way that have awesome startups,
Please do.
and even just places that uh, have communities of startups too that probably have might be some good intros. Last question is because we've been trying to do something a little bit fun on the podcast at the end. What is your top three favorite movies? We want a little insight of like what should we be watching, man? Is there something? Is there some heat? Is there a diamond in the rough that we should be checking out?
I'll try to give different genres within my top three favorite movies.
Okay.
Um, Blades of Glory might be my favorite, like comedy, like Will Ferrell, like
Yeah.
classic, like comedy, like definitely up there. The Prestige is definitely up there too. It's more thriller.
Okay.
Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, um, and then for third, it's a very good question. I might have to go Prisoners, another thriller with Hugh
Oh,
Jackman.
okay.
I love that one. I'm definitely a big thrillers guy, big comedy guy. Um, yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
definitely up there.
No,
What are
that's
your
cool. And
three favorite movies?
oh man, I'm big into action. So like my favorite movie of all time is V for Vendetta. Is my absolute favorite
Wow.
movie. The story I've watched it probably 70 times. Another one is Interstellar. Absolute
Oh,
masterpiece. Freaking movie.
for
I
sure.
love those like they mess with your brain, like those kind of movies.
Exactly.
Um, and then I think I just because I'm a huge comic book fan is Dark Knight. I just think it's so well done.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable movie. And then there's some movies that I have even in my top 10 that I'll never watch again, like Saving Private Ryan. I'll never watch it again. It's just still it's a masterpiece. It's a beautiful like
For sure.
it's too much for me to watch. I'm like, yo,
I get
but
that.
yeah, mine is definitely more action or like sci-fi, superhero, that type of stuff. But I love the ones that mess with your brain and like get you thinking.
For
of all
sure.
things. So no, yeah, we like to we definitely wanted to just to end the podcast on something fun. Something that people like. I mean, I'm definitely going to check out some of these movies too. I know a lot of them are a little bit older, not like super old, but a little bit
Mhm.
older that I just need to see again. I just haven't seen it for a while. So like, I just rewatched Inception on the plane to
Amazing.
Milwaukee.
Such a
Amazing
great
movie,
plane
right?
movie. Yeah. It keeps you entertained on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, I
Before
was
you
like,
know it, you're landed. You know, like
no, it was a quick thing, but I haven't seen that movie for so long, and it just like I was like, oh my god, it's still good. It's still good. But thank you so much, Mitch, for being on the
thank you.
podcast, man. And where can people get connected with you? We're gonna have all in stuff in the show notes and when we release this thing out, but where can people get connected to you if they're interested?
If you're interested, at the Venture Reel on Instagram, Reel spelled REEL. You can see it on the hat I've been wearing.
Yeah.
Email for business inquiries. I mean, just check out the Talent Resources Venture site. It's also in my bio in the Venture Reel. My email is there and everything. And if you just happen to be a big Knicks or Drake fan, my Twitter is pretty crazy. I might get canceled, so I don't even know why I mentioned that. But uh, I'm not going to give you my handle, but you can go find it. But yeah, I mean that's where you can find me, Jamar. You are the man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
It was an absolute blast and pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and hopefully we can run it back again
Oh
sometime.
yeah, yeah, 100%, man. And guys, everybody listening, watching, please like, comment, subscribe to the episode, and don't forget, guys, please reach out to Mitchell. I mean, he's incredible guy. But come correct, guys. If you guys got your business, you're trying to get funded, just please come correct. I mean, especially if you're like, hey, I listened to Forever Podcast, Jabbar, blah blah blah. Don't use my name in the podcast if you guys ain't coming correct, all right? And don't forget, guys, if you could change your circle, you could change your life. And we will see you on the next episode. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more amazing content that we're going to be putting out. And don't forget, you can change your circle to change your life.